Okay, here we are. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Wellbeing Wednesday. I'm so glad you're here. I am Pam Furman, one of the well-being coaches with Curricula Concepts. And today we have a guest speaker here to talk about our theme of what is your purpose? And her name is April Agnew. And we are so happy you are here. She is joining us on her lunch break. So we really appreciate you taking the time for us to be able to speak with you. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself and let us get to know you a little bit before we dive into our subject.
Thank you so much, Pam, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I am April Agnew. I am a fourth grade teacher in Little Rock, Arkansas. I am also a foreign field missionary, and I travel around the world setting up and working with my church's Journey Center in the Dominican Republic, where we rescue girls from sex trafficking and other abusive situations. I am a published author, six-time published author, and a life coach. And I absolutely love everything that I do.
Wow, you are a busy lady for sure.
Very
Love
much.
that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this month we have been talking about for September. Our theme is what is your purpose, right? And sometimes that's a hard word or a thing that somebody might not be like, what is my purpose or how do I figure that out? And so I'd love for us to just kind of talk about just some steps and, you obviously are living out a lot of your purpose with the things that you do. I would love for you to kind of just explain like the first step, like how do you figure out your purpose and going that route or what does that look like to figure that out?
I think so many people believe that their purpose is something that they automatically know or that, it would just come to them somehow, some way. But I'm a firm believer that our purpose unfolds over time. And that one of my favorite scriptures is found in the book of Proverbs in the Bible, in the Holy Bible, and in the Amplified Bible. Proverbs 19:21 says, many plans are in a man's mind, but it is the Lord's purpose for him that will stand or be carried out. And that's kind of how I approach encouraging people to find their purpose, is to get centered and start, looking at the things that you are doing, the things that you love doing, the things that you are, interested in, and start walking those things out. Start doing and practicing and becoming. And as you become, your purpose unfolds for you.
Yeah.
For example, in my life, I love children. I've always loved children and I love to sing. So I thought that I would be a music teacher. But eventually I found out that I did not have the discipline for the music part. But I still wanted to work with the children. And I kept thinking, I love working with children. And I prayed and I asked God to give me direction. After I prayed and asked God for direction, I decided to look into what major would be best for me. And I realized it was early childhood education. I started teaching Sunday school at my church with the small children to see how I would do. And I did that for about 3 years, and I realized it was my passion, that I absolutely loved teaching children and helping them understand concepts in a way that they could grasp. And that's what led to me graduating with a master's of arts in teaching and working in the school district. And that led to many other things that led me into my full purpose of teaching people around the world, helping people, and being the servant that I believe I am.
Right. Okay. I love that. So it started with you just knew you loved children. And so you just kind of, that was like your foundation, right? You loved children. And so then you were just kind of like exploring new avenues of something with children, right? Was that okay? So let's just say that like, right, somebody doesn't even know what they love, right? They kind of lost themselves a little bit where they're like, who am I? What drives me? Where do I find those things? How would you say for somebody that is just, maybe in the thicket of motherhood and work and kind of have lost themselves, where would you suggest they begin to even find, their little foundation of something that is what is resonating with them?
them. And you know, a lot of times people get to that place where they get consumed with the responsibilities of life and they do lose sight of their own individualized purpose. And that's why I always encourage my clients and friends and family to center yourself. Who are you besides being a mom, a wife, a father, a husband? Who are you beyond your job? Who are you? And when you start searching for yourself, you start to realize there are some things that, you know, I used to love this, but I don't do that anymore. I used to like this, but I don't do that anymore. A lot of people get to that place. And when you start thinking about that, well, what can you do now that will get you back on the path of doing those things that you used to like or used to love or enjoy doing?
Okay, right. Okay, so it might have to go back several years, maybe, to the high school years or to when you were really young. It might have to be some
Right.
soul searching of that. Okay, I love
Definitely.
that. And I know I had to kind of do that in my life when we became empty nesters. I had to be like, who was Pam back in the day? And so you're right, you do have to kind of go back pretty far, and it doesn't come very naturally if you've kind of lost yourself in that, right? Um,
Definitely.
so
Definitely.
okay, I absolutely love that. And that little plan of just trying to sit down and think, who are you? And I love that you say get yourself centered. Because I think again, it's taking that little bit of moment, right? Just to kind of go, take a breath and go, let me think about me. And that's kind of how you're saying centered is, right? Like just it does just give yourself some grace to think about that and stuff.
Definitely,
Okay.
definitely taking that grace. And you know, a lot of times we have purpose, but when we lose our passion in that, we kind of feel like that's not our purpose. When really, once you get centered and you get settled and you look at yourself beyond all of the things, you know, everything that you do and everything that you're responsible for, you can find that passion again, where, you know, you may already have that purpose within yourself. You may already be doing it, but you just lost your passion. And so it's kind of like mixing the purpose and the passion together and moving forward in that.
Okay, I love that. Do you still like to sing though, even though you didn't go that avenue? Is singing still a little bit of a passion for
I
you?
do still love singing, and I sing at my church with my church choir and my family. Every time we get together, we sing.
Okay, I just was wondering. 'Cause sometimes, I love how you said you kind of went that way, but it didn't lead you. And so it's good to see that that's still a part of you and that you didn't just go, oh, it didn't work out as you were looking at your purpose. You are still fulfilling a little bit of that in a different way that you kind of thought maybe. And so I love that. Okay, so we've kind of figured out like, our purpose and how to get that, like how to think about that. So then we talked about like, okay, so then now we've got to kind of craft it and build it kind of like a muscle, right? We got to work at it. So how would you recommend for somebody to craft their purpose? What does that look like for you?
Well, I'm a firm believer in developing yourself through professional development for, you know, your job. Even though I am an elementary school teacher and I know that it's a part of my purpose, I knew there was something more that I needed. I knew there was something more that I desired. And it started with me doing foreign field missions. I was invited to go on a mission trip to Ghana. And when I got there, I fell in love with the children. And it was like, okay, here I am with children again. Here I am entertaining children, loving on children, and teaching children. I'm just drawn to it wherever I go. And so that was how it first started, just getting an opportunity once per year, going on a mission trip and continuing in my journey to develop myself. I started taking classes and attending workshops and doing what I could to develop myself in the areas where I felt there was a need.
Mm,
I knew that there was a need for literature. For example, when I went on my first mission trip to the Dominican, they needed literature. I love writing. I've always incorporated writing into my life. And when I published my first book, I just thought it was a project that I wanted to do. And hey, I got my project out there and people are liking it. I'm being invited to conferences, but no, it was a part of my purpose as well. And so when they started asking for specific literature in the Dominican, not only could I, you know, use my love for writing, but also researching and finding out how my publishing company could translate the products into Spanish so that they could access the information. And it turned into having 2 books published in Spanish and doing a conference in the Dominican to help the girls that were there. So developing yourself and ongoing research and just, digging in deep to see where can this go in order to reach, so many more people and go beyond, the scope of your influence into the lives of those who may be able to influence even more where you are trying to reach.
I love that. Do you so like when you were doing that, did you find that like things were just coming in your path and just coming at you like I'm sending you signs and like it just becomes this like thing that you're just focused so much on that you see it everywhere where you're like, I see it. Did that happen to you at all when you were working on crafting your purpose?
Definitely. In many ways, you do get those open doors where people invite you and it just kind of lays out for you. However, I did have to be mindful to steward it well because if you give so much and you don't take time to rest and you don't take time to step back and reassess and reflect, you can get so overwhelmed that you will lose yourself even in your purpose, right? And so when it comes to crafting your purpose, you do want to take those moments where you step back, where you take a breath, where you celebrate the wins and reassess what you can do differently the next time as you move forward. And as those doors were opening, I had to make sure to be mindful and for me, prayerful about what opportunities to take, what opportunities to thank them for, and, move on and wait for another door
Okay,
of
love that.
opportunity.
Because you could kind of because so many opportunities and you want to craft it and you want to grow, you can be like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do that. And you just kind of lose your main focus of what you're wanting to do. So I love that you made that point that even though all these opportunities are coming, take a moment and again, think about it and pray about it and look at it into your life. Like, will this really grow me in my purpose. What about fear when those things like because it's fear's gotta, I would think, as you're crafting and you're learning something new, fear could possibly play into this. How does it? And how do you manage a little bit of that fearfulness when you come to this road of crafting?
Definitely, fear does come about, but for me as a believer, I live by faith. And so I approach fear with my faith. I
Oh,
move forward knowing that even though it doesn't look like it's going to work out, even though it can be a little overwhelming, even though sometimes I don't even feel qualified to do what I'm doing in my purpose, because this is my purpose and I was created to do this, there is a victory for me. There is a win for me. So keep going. And so
yeah.
that's how I have approached it in crafting my purpose. Keep going. Uh, Sometimes it didn't always work out the way I wanted it to work out or the way that I could picture it in the beginning. And in those moments, I step back, I pray, I rest, and I reassess, and then I'm able to move forward. And I see that God has an even greater door for me to fulfill that purpose. So that's the way it's worked out for me in the last several years. Like I said, when I started crafting my purpose and walking it out in faith against that fear, even though it was present, I was able to overcome. And now I'm reaching people all over the world. And it's amazing to be able to do that.
That's awesome. Yeah, walk in fear because you'll grow, right? Even, and I love that, like you said, it didn't turn out the way you sometimes wanted it to, or the way you saw it, but you kept going. And so again, as our viewers are listening, because we can get hung up on this part right here, I think is a big thing because, we figure out our purpose, but then walking in our purpose and growing that fear and that I'm not good enough or I can't can stop us. But I love how you said just keep going and letting those steps just lead you one after another. So I absolutely love that. And I love the encouragement that you are giving our listeners to
Right.
keep going, right? Just keep
Keep
going.
going.
I love that. Okay, so we've got that, and then once we've crafted it, then we have to align it, right? We have to live it out. And so
Mhm.
explain that a little bit to me on how you see that looking in after we've gotten all these like little steps. I'm a step person. I like, not like one, two, and three, but kind of one, two, and three kind of things that helps my
I
brain
get it.
work. And so aligning your purpose, what would that look like for you?
For me, once you begin to walk out your purpose, you don't want to become a person that gets in a routine and it just becomes something that you're doing just to be doing it. No reason. So when it comes to aligning your purpose, always keep your why at the forefront of your mind. Always keep your why there. You want to always go back to why am I doing this? So, for example, this is my 20th year in the field of education. And at about year 14, I got tired and I was ready to retire early and move into something else. I got overwhelmed with the expectations of my school district. I got overwhelmed with the processes that were taking place in the classroom, and I felt like I was no longer effective at my job. And so in aligning with my purpose. I was doing ongoing professional development, giving myself over to everything that you do in order to maintain in your purpose and living it. And in aligning with my purpose, I took a year off. I stepped away from the field for a year and I thought I was going to do something else, but I realized I just needed to rest. And while I was resting, I was giving myself the grace to grow, to develop personally. I was giving myself the grace to take that moment back and not feel like I was abandoning my students and the future students to come. I knew that I needed that break. And after I took that break and I went back to the field, I have not lost my passion. I
Oh,
am just as excited as the new teachers when they come back every school year because I keep aligning my purpose. And this time I understand that if I am away from the building, that I need to take that break and, treat myself well, minister to my needs. And for me, minister to my mom's needs because I'm her caregiver and ensure that my home is well, that the space where I rest and relax is well. And when I do that, I can go back into that classroom every day as my best self. So when you're aligning with your purpose, you are attending to yourself personally. You're making sure that you're giving yourself grace, that you're loving yourself and taking care of those things that matter to you most so that when you go back into doing your purpose, you can do it well and continuously.
I love that. It's so neat. Okay, couple questions I have. Do you revisit your why like often? Like sometimes when you need a little pick me up, do you refer back to your why to kind of like focus for that? Do you go back to that
I go
often?
back to my why every day. And
Every
that's just for me personally. I go back to my why every day. I tell people I start my day with Jesus and I end my day with Jesus, and I give him everything in between. So for me, I start with my why and I end with my why. And I do that daily so that I can keep a perspective above my own. I'm just a human, I'm just a woman. But if I keep a perspective above my own, I know that I can accomplish beyond myself. I know that I can continue in my purpose beyond myself. And so, starting with my why every morning and my why every evening, and making sure to reflect throughout my day, it really helps me to stay aligned and keep moving forward.
I love that. I absolutely love also what you said about you get your head straight with your why and you end it with your why. And in between, you are taking also care of yourself because you know that you need to tend to yourself. And it's, you know, that is so important just to take care of yourself on a daily basis, whether you're trying to find your purpose or not. It's you're loving on the body that you have, the mind that you have, and that way you can live out your purpose and do all the things. So I absolutely love that you take that moment and you find time to tend to yourself and to your environment around you and all those things so that you are the best version of yourself. So that's a great reminder for all of us as things get crazy in life and we have ups and downs to say, oh, hold on, I can't, like you're a caregiver. You can't be a great caregiver if you aren't taking care of yourself, right? If you aren't rested and stuff like that. And so it's a good reminder for us to say, hold on, and then give us a little bit of time and take care of
Right.
ourselves. I love that. And all these things are very tangible. When we broke them down like that, it didn't feel so like heavy, like what is my purpose? Like, because that can overwhelm people and then it makes them feel bad because they're like, I don't know. But you've broken it down into just a beautiful little, step by step where you can ponder on those for some time. And I love that. So thank you. So now that we've kind of like honed it in and we've kind of dialed in all our little steps and you've kind of talked about like your purpose and stuff, again, just let's wrap it up and show me again how living out your purpose with all these steps with your children, all that, how, again, just wrap it up in a nice little tidy box for me so our viewers can kind of see all that put together in place.
Definitely. I think that you can live a very rich life, and it has nothing to do with tangible things. Rich and fulfilled life. And for me, following those steps, seeking out my purpose and really praying and asking God to guide me and crafting that purpose and aligning with that purpose has caused me to live that rich and fulfilled life, but every day. And it's not something that you just come to this stopping place. Oh, I've reached a moment of riches. I've reached a moment of fulfillment. It's an everyday renewal of the richness and fulfillment that you can live out with all that goes on in the world. You can have a peace and a joy that comes with living your life, living as your best self in every stage and every phase of life. And so when we do these things to seek out our purpose and we allow ourselves the grace to grow and the capacity to become, we get to that place of fulfillment that is constant, that is overflowing, and that is continuous.
I love that. And like what you said, I mean, I'm hearing it doesn't even have to be something huge, right? It your purpose could just be walking through the day with just joy, right? Like you are just gonna your purpose today is just to find the joy in your day and you can craft joy in your life. And it can be something as
Right.
simple as that. We don't, I mean, you do amazing things and people can look at you and go, I that's a lot and there's no comparison. It's what I guess what you can say is what just fuels you for you as a human being, right? What
Right.
brings you that smile? What
That's it.
brings you just an easy transition in your day, right? Is that what you kind of feel too when you are living out your purpose? It's just flows easy through you.
Definitely.
Okay,
I truly and thoroughly believe that it's just going to flow and it's
good.
going to be something that you can look back and say, that was beautiful. That day was beautiful. Or you'll find that you'll start seeing the good in each day. You'll start seeing the good in each moment as you do that.
I love that. I love that. Well, I just want to say thank you again for joining us. Now you in the comments, your website is there. So we have your website and your contact information. Are your books available on your website as well? So the viewers
They
can
are
look up the
available.
okay.
Yes, they are available on the website. I'm an inspirational writer and I write to encourage and inspire people to live their best life. And so I do that in different ways. So thank
Good.
you.
Yeah.
It is on the
Thank
website.
you. It has been so fun to just learn just some fun little, steps along the way to help find our purpose and just live the best life that we can and be our best self. So thank you very much. And now you have to go back to teach your little ones, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Thank you
Well,
for this
hopefully you feel a little
opportunity.
even more bound because you got to talk about your purpose. So today will be a much more happier day, hopefully, for you.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And again, guys, look at our comments and reach out to April if you have any questions or want her to help with life coaching. You can reach out to her. And also, you can find us on our different platforms on Facebook, on Instagram. And again, thank you for joining us on this Wellbeing Wednesday. Have a great one, you guys.